Hello, everybody. I'm Gary Laubach along with Mike Joseph. This is Behind the Mic, and after a bye week, Lafayette ready to get back on the field on a rare Friday night football game. That game will start at Princeton at 7 o'clock. It will be on ESPNU. Princeton comes in 3-0. Princeton comes in having won 13 games in a row. Princeton comes in with the second longest winning streak in the nation in FCS football. The only one better than that, North Dakota State. And we first played this team in 1883, but we know Bob Serace, and we know the kind of offense he puts together, Mike. So if there was ever a time when we needed 2 weeks to prepare for a team, this is probably the best time to have it.
Yeah, I think having the bye week came obviously at the perfect time. Lafayette, struggling to get a win, number one. And then number two, obviously, a team like Princeton, you need some extra time based upon their personnel groupings. You need some time to get healthy, number two, along those lines. So, hopefully Lafayette went back to the drawing board, got a little bit of self-scout, understood what they do, try to figure out some of their own tendencies, something you do every week, every time you do have a bye week. So those 2 weeks, I think, are going to be great for Lafayette. And if they can go down to Princeton, John Garrett's old stomping grounds, go down there, play well. This is a Princeton team that really didn't hit on all cylinders against Columbia. And the week before, I think they struggled a little bit offensively. So they're having some issues not putting up those 30 and 40 and 50-point games that we've seen in the past.
They certainly are a formidable foe for Lafayette, however. They have beaten Lafayette 10 times in a row. Lafayette has only beaten them 4 times, having lost to them 43 times over the years. Back to 1883 is when they first started. When you look at this ball club, they did trail Columbia actually at the half by a 10-7 score. Al Bagnoli's done a pretty good job at Columbia, making them certainly competitive. But they've got a senior quarterback, and you need that to run this kind of offense, and he does that quite well. 74% of the time he completes his passes, a couple of touchdowns. 2 good running backs in Quigley and Edie. He threw to 7 different receivers, so he's got a stable of receivers back there. There are not many weaknesses, and when you look at the defensive side of the football, maybe they played a better defensive game so far this year.
Yeah, I think defensively they were struggling early in the season. They came back and they played well. They were not happy with the way they played their other Patriot League foe in Bucknell. I read some articles about how they weren't really excited about the way their defense played, giving up over 25 points to them. So they need to shore some things up. Remember, listen, they've only been playing football now. It's 3 games. Lafayette's into their 6th game. So you have to think about that as well. We saw that at Penn. I thought Lafayette played well at Penn. But this is a Princeton team, like you said, offensively. It's going to try to get off a play every 18 to 20 seconds, which means they're trying to run 80 to 85 plays in a game, which is amazing. So to match personnel against them, they do spread the ball around well. The quarterback's a senior. Do we ever not see a senior quarterback or a redshirt senior quarterback? But I think it's a good game for Lafayette. Defensively, they're going to need to rush the quarterback. They're going to need to pressure the quarterback, put them in situations where they can cause some turnovers. Lafayette's only had a few of those all season.
They, of course, are facing their second Ivy League opponent in a row. They faced Penn 2 weeks ago, so they're ready to stay in that league and played fairly well against Penn, I thought. They certainly got some great performances out of Shoemaker. Marco Olivas played really well. Ryan Dickens played really well in that game.
Yeah, I was impressed with the way Lafayette played. They were just obviously that 2-touchdown deficit got to them. They did come back well. There's no quit in this team. If you look offensively, we came into the season thinking, well, Lafayette's going to struggle offensively. Defense got to keep them alive. This is an offense that I think can score against anybody, and now moving into a part of the season, including Princeton and the rest of the season, this is a Lafayette offense that really is doing well. And you look at Keegan Shoemaker, I mean, he's leading the league in passing. He's doing extremely well. A few turnovers here or there. They're starting to run the ball better with John Gay. That offensive line, I expect with 2 weeks preparation and 2 weeks to get healthy, the offensive line is going to be the biggest jump in improvement. They have to be. Can't give up that many sacks.
Yeah, get healthy and stay healthy through the Princeton game because, as Mike alluded to, it's Patriot League football time. They have already played some games in the league this week. Georgetown won a non-league game. They beat Cornell. Lehigh beats Colgate. Watch that ball game. I'll get Mike's take on it. Holy Cross over Bucknell. Yale ends up beating Fordham in a non-league game. So your early thoughts on the Patriot League, which is now just a couple of weeks away for us.
Wide open. I don't see a dominant team in the league. I really don't. I know teams play good defense. I'm impressed with Lehigh's defense. I mean, they're a team that usually struggles defensively. They held down Colgate. I know Colgate's not hitting on all cylinders, although Brenneman did play in that game, and he did get them down to the 1-yard line prior to getting tackled at the 1. So Lehigh's defense is better. That's something you got to be aware of. But offensively, teams are struggling. Holy Cross is struggling. Bucknell's struggling offensively. So, Lafayette, they're primed to look at a situation where they've played the meat of their season in the beginning, all the tough players. We're going to find out if Lafayette is primed based upon who they played. And coming into the Patriot League, they're not going to see the same type of D lineman. They're not going to see the same type of O lineman, the speed factors on special teams that Lafayette has struggled on a little bit, giving up kickoff returns and things like that. So I look for this as being a wide open Patriot League, and it's going to be exciting. So you got to wipe the slate clean after this week. First of all, let's get to Princeton.
That's right. First we think about Princeton, then we think about the Patriot League. That's what Mike and I will talk about next week before the Georgetown game. Thanks for spending some time with us behind the mic.